Morning, Lucas.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you?
All good.
Super.
Cool. Just I was preparing things here, looking at a number of little things we can go over today, and maybe let's just wait a few more minutes for someone else to join, possibly.
Perfect.
I know that Lucy and Huangxing are not going to be able to make it this week, but I thought we may as well just crack on and progress a bit, especially because we have this approach where they can see things asynchronously as well. So
exactly right.
Yeah, and overall, how are you doing? All good?
Good. Good. A little busy with work, but yes, good things. Things are going on, happening. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, as well. Jumping from project to project, but really excited to be, building and working in so many different aspects of things.
Great, great. Yeah. I'm impressed with your capability of focus. It's amazing. You do a lot of stuff at the same time.
I need to. I'm at the stage now where I need to push them to a goalpost, through the goalpost, to just get them productive and all that. But I think like it's a bit like that in terms of becoming able to build in Gimbalabs, for example. But on the other hand, it's also going to be a sort of a marathon, because I'm already looking at Fund 10 to put in proposals and to get funded, and from there on to build from there. So
that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, you have ideas already for Fund 10. Fund 10 start November, right?
I made a note. I made a note somewhere. Not sure. Fund 10. Here it is. Here it is. Fund 10 begins November 2nd. Yeah.
Right. Oh, very early November.
I have tons of notes in VS Code. It's crazy. I can search them. Like, it's a bit like Obsidian. It's another tool that the guys use for organizing lots of notes. Curtis and the guys, Nori. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I hear about that tool, but I haven't started using it because too many tools, too many things going on. But
I used to use Notepad++ to organize my notes. Now I switched to VS Code because it's more structured. You can have I just have one folder that's like a repository of all the markup files. MD instead of TXT, I use MD files, and I organize a lot of things in there. Yeah.
VS Code, nice. That's a great tool to use. You have to set it up properly and start using it.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go over the topics for today. We just have the standard session, and there's a number of things that are going to be announcements and questions to the group. Although today we have a small group, but still I'm going to put them out there and maybe get some feedback from the guys on the chat asynchronously. So jumping in to share my screen. The last session I did this the wrong way, so it was really terrible in terms of resolution. So I hope it doesn't happen today. There we go. Okay, so I was already in the weeds here with transactions, but let's go back to session 7. So yeah, topics I wanted to mention, like my audio was really bad. The last session was really low. So whenever you have any, remarks, don't hesitate to let me know. What I did for this one was I sent it to a friend of mine that does video editing. So we normalized the audio and now it's better. And yeah, I also get this situation. So I hope I don't fall into this one again. Yeah. Now, the other question I had was, can we move the sessions to Thursdays? I've submitted this to the guys on WhatsApp. I'm going to put it on Discord as well. From your side, would you be okay with doing this on Thursdays at the same hour?
Yeah, no problem. I think it's a good time. I think that actually one of the best time I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the best time.
Thursday. I mean, this hour is awesome because nothing is happening at this time, so it's great.
Okay.
Any day.
Maybe I'll make a let us meet, but hope we don't need that. But it would be a good opportunity to use this tool with the guys. Have you used it? A lot of again,
yes.
many tools, too many tools.
but this is a very
yeah. Some of them when they're really good, you're happy to use them, right? It's not just overhead. Also, I wanted to take a second here to talk about this further ideas for this initiative section. So I'm using this a lot, the left side navigator there. And if I jump straight to the further ideas, one of them we've came through with building it, which is what we're going to go over today, which is a Miro backlog for it's basically this. Take our backlog to be voted on a Miro board, and these are just some examples. So let's take a look at that today. Maybe out of that experience, because we start becoming more proficient with Miro, possibly as well work a bit to gather some contents and links there in complement to what we are doing here on our tools sheet. So maybe we can, this one is good for some things, but maybe the other one would be better for others. And also one thing that I've put in here and that I wanted to flash to this recording and to this session today is there's this organization called the Blockchain Learning Center. I've had a meeting with them via Littlefish, I think. And these guys have these illustrations that are really, really good. So instead of reinventing the wheel, this is just to bring to light a bit what I mean with why we should just partner with an organization like this, because as you can see, if I'm not sure if it's going to be useful. Yeah, if I click, really, really simple, right? Simple concepts that we can take a look at.
Infographics are great.
Yeah, this is the type of thing I love because it's just one concept at a time, very clear. And so I'm going to be probably reaching out to them a bit to detail our relationship and see if they're okay with us using it and how we can give back a bit, even if it's just feedback. So yeah,
very nice.
Cool.
Like that idea.
As always, the links are in the docs. So there's the link there for the website, for their page for infographics, and for this thing that I'm just sharing now. I'm going to close it for today. But yeah, so there's this for us to explore asynchronously a bit. Also, I'd like to highlight that I have two topics here to open up for anyone that have been taking this course or anyone that is skilled into looking at this. So this course that we've been doing so far has been improvised. We're building it as we go. And if someone ran a second cohort, a second class of this in English, it would already be quite different. So this is a challenge for anyone to just pick up what we've done so far, what we've gathered, and do a copy of it and rerun it with a fresh set of learners.
Right.
Okay.
Great idea.
So this would already allow us to start rethinking and passing a second pair of eyes on all of this, especially because we went through the transition of testnet, pre-production, and etc. And this one would not have that because I think it would be focused only on pre-production. On the same line of thought, if we do this work but in different languages, this could be really cool to broaden our horizons and get to more communities. I have a number of people that speak French, starting with Juan, Sebastian, maybe some guys from Citaldoc. I've been reaching out to them.
Spanish, you mean? You said French. I think.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, okay. I mean Spanish. So yeah, maybe it would be good if anyone. I'm also reaching out to this person that presented in the European Town Hall and challenging her. For French, I have a friend. She's already a teacher, but she's not literate in Cardano. So maybe she'll come through, or I'll continue to challenge people. Portuguese, I can do it myself, or I've challenged 2 friends. Chinese, maybe Huanqing or Lucy want to take this on, or even as a team. This could be interesting. Italian, maybe Gabri or someone. So I think the concept here really is to spread out. And even if I don't know how long we can stretch this out. Obviously, we can go a long way if we start using the, just showing content, but especially focusing on the core concept of the project, which was hands-on classes. It does require some rework on the content, and we may come down to having a course that is just, okay, 5, 6, 7 sessions is the ideal size. But even there, it would be good to run the different cohorts in different languages, because that's where we start giving value to who we are trying to reach. Okay, so there's these question marks there for anyone to start signing up or maturing that idea. From my point of view, I can share as well that it starts really, and that's why I think I've been very lucky to have some people that are coming to the sessions and keeping the project alive. So it starts with you finding your own friends and making that group of 5 people or 4 or 3 that you want to run this with. Okay.
Right. I'm not sure how much I can commit to do it in terms of time, but I'll be here looking for people around to support the project and help as much as I can. I just saying that because I can say now yes, of course, but then reality is another one. So yeah, I just want to make sure I made that clear.
Okay.
But this is super.
I'm just making a note. One thing that we can also do as a team is to ideate around what communities we can reach. And I'm also challenging a person that has background in marketing and search engine optimization and promotion, so that we can start getting to those communities like the Latin America community, the town hall, with a pitch, with a resource. And that's why I did the Linktree as well. So maybe here, reach out to present in a LATAM.
Include what is this other group, the important group? It's called it's
Catalyst School.
No, there's another Hispanic group that is very in Portuguese, which is forgot the name.
Okay,
it'll come to me.
Okay, you can come to this document, and I'm pretty sure everyone has a permission to add comments. So you can reply to my comment, or you can add another one on top of this. Okay.
Yeah, I just see it here. Aldea. It's called Aldea or Fogon. They have Aldea is the name of the organization.
Okay.
And they have a meeting that is called Fogon. I think it's Fridays.
Is it this?
Yes, Aldea. I think it's that. Right.
Okay. And they're based in Cardano?
They are, of course, they are 100% Cardano. They are very, very involved. They have, so Matthias is I made the contact to you with Matthias, so we can talk about him with him.
Okay. Just gonna add it there. And I'll chase it later because we're burning a lot of time in our session today. Still want to get to some of the parts, but thanks so much, and I'll reach out to them. If this goes well, and if we continue to spin off things and mature our approach, one of the proposals that I would like to write for Fund 10 is a proposal to support the initiative. So this would be both for trainers, for learners, for resources, and all that. So it would really be a good goal for us. Okay, so just to give us some long-term horizon, as I was saying in the beginning. Okay, so coming back to this, so we've done all of that, and now following up from the previous session, we were during the previous session trying to build. Let me just close this. Trying to build a complex transaction in Eternl, which had a number of inputs from our side, from my wallet. I had UTXOs that I was putting in, and several, what do you call it? I'm sending to several people, several recipients, that was the word. So if I go back to this part here, that's what happened was that we got to a point where I couldn't submit the transaction. And let me just collapse this. There we go. So instead of completing it on the session, I just made these notes that I wanted to go over now. I don't know, have you ever done this in Eternl, sending to several recipients at the same time?
No, no, I haven't played with that. I mean,
Okay.
I have the wallet, but I haven't played with that feature.
Okay, so what I did coming to my Eternl there was just coming to the accounts and I was just putting ourselves in the main page. And from here you go to send. And then instead of doing a simple send as we are there, I switch it to Transaction Builder. And in here, if you take a look at the last week's video, you will see that I was doing this. So adding inputs, which is pieces of ADA, UTXOs as we call them, from my wallet, and adding outputs. So I did all this for a few minutes in the session. And then I came to a point where I had this thing built, which was my inputs from the left side and my outputs from the right side. But I didn't know what to do. So actually this what I'm showing you here is already the pre-built, no, it's a draft. It's a draft on the top of the screen. And then what I have to do is come here and press the Build Tx, which is Build Transaction button. I even submitted some feedback to Eternl. I think they're going to refurbish the whole UI, but not because of my feedback, because they are already planning to do that, obviously. So this button is not very intuitive. But when I was brave enough to try to press this one, I just got this little pop-up there saying transaction successfully built. And if I scroll down, I get the draft of the transaction. So let me just come back to my notes. So to go point by point. So I had to press the build transaction. And what this does is from the things that I had put in, just let's say offline, what I had drafted, the Build Tx button is going to check that all inputs and outputs make sense, and it prepares the transaction as like an object to be submitted to the blockchain. Okay, so that's what this button does, Build Tx. And then if I wanted to reset all the work I've done, this button is going to clear both the lower part and the upper part. So this is what I've been building, and this is the Build Tx UI. So the reset button would clear both of them. Okay. Now there's still this one here, which says collect UTXOs. I was experimenting with that one. From my understanding, what this does is get all your fragmented UTXOs and put them all into one. So it creates a transaction internal in your wallet, but it still needs to go to the blockchain, where it gets all the little fragments of balance and collects all of them into a single output. Okay. Now, switching back to when I built the transaction from this part to what I see on the lower part of my screen, what can I see there? It's a very rich interface there, where from the top down, it shows me the total of ADA that I'm sending. So because I had composed here 3 recipients with different amounts of everything, this one here is, this piece of screen here is showing me the total of ADA that I'm sending, the total of Bliss, and the total of ULI between all these 3 outputs. It's also showing me the exact fee that I'm going to pay in ADA. So this is 0.199601. It's very interesting because when I do this, it's completely like on my side. It's not going to the blockchain at all. It's just checking that all the UTXOs are there to be consumed. The balances that I'm planning to spend are still on the blockchain. But apart from that, it's all local work, but it's already giving me an exact fee. This is something that does not happen in Ethereum. In Cardano, we have deterministic fees. So I put in 2 links there for documents where we can learn a bit more about how fees are calculated in Cardano. But I can tell you that there's a base fee, and then there's something that depends on the size of your transaction, how complex it is. And that's it. So that's what we have there. Also, what do I have here? Okay, the draft and build transaction ID. So this ID here is already the same ID. Although it's a draft local that I haven't submitted to blockchain, but I'm already giving a fingerprint to my transaction, which will be the same when it's submitted to the blockchain. And if I go there, I was just exploring exactly that, where I have my wallet, I'm viewing it on CExplorer. And so this was my transaction. You can see there, FF2A8 is the same transaction ID that I had since I built my transaction locally before even signing it or submitting it. Another thing we have there is this was a countdown of my transaction, how long I had to submit it. Otherwise, this draft would not be valid. Okay. Another interesting thing, because I was demoing it in last week's session, that I was adding, we're all working with single address wallets for now. So there's only one address for Huanxing, one for Lucy, one for Nishan. Because I was giving them names in my address book, now I have those names showing here for my outputs. And that helps me a lot to navigate instead of having to look at the transactions. This is something that I don't think I can do in these types of block explorers. Sometimes some of them may do that, but if I centralize that work in my wallet, that will probably be a lot more practical. And so that we have the labels. That was this point. And what else? I also have an interesting thing, which I didn't have in the beginning. So here I was just drafting, I'm going to throw all of these UTXOs. I think I had another one a bit above. I'm going to throw them into my transaction. And I want, out of all of this, I want to send to these people. So there wasn't a notion on this interface there of where does the change go. I'm spending, for example, here I'm throwing in 10,000 test data, but I'm only sending 5 plus something, totalizing 25 test data. Where does the change go? Where does it come back to me? So because as we've spoken in the beginning of how Cardano works, these UTXOs, these ADA bubbles of balance are going to be completely consumed, and they're going to be put to the history of the blockchain. And so I need a change UTXO there, which is still, this is account 0, and here we have account 0. So this is the change. Out of the 10,000 that I'm sending, 5 plus 5 plus 6 go to these people, and the change, the remaining 9,976, come back to me in the new UTXO. So this one will be unspent after the transaction goes through, and these two will be spent in history. Okay, so that's what the change does. Other notes around what we're having here. So the transaction is solid in the sense that not a Lovelace. A Lovelace is 0.0050 zeros and a 1. That's one Lovelace. It's the smallest unit inside Cardano. Not one Lovelace is lost in the transactions. Actually, that's why you see there the 6 decimal places. If you're curious, why would they choose? Because 6 is what we can record in the blockchain, and that's why they're always showing it to us with all that detail of decimal places. Okay, so all the inputs equal all the outputs plus the fee equal all the inputs. Okay, it's solid in that sense. Okay, so then when I sign and submit the transaction to the blockchain, the input UTXOs I sent will be updated. I was just mentioning this. New unspent transaction outputs will be recorded on the blockchain, and the fee is captured. This part I hadn't mentioned today. So the fee that is being taken to the side here gets captured by the stake pool that mints this block where my transaction is being recorded. Okay, so this is just to give you a notion of how value flows. And this is, I think, really, really important because we all have incentives to use things, and SPOs need to have an incentive to do things. We know that we got usually fiat money that we converted to ADA. It's still money, and it's with that money that the SPO gets paid. So this little splinter of value is what keeps the blockchain running in terms of incentives for the SPOs, the stake pool operators. Okay, so that was the overall presentation of one complex transaction. I think we covered a lot of notions, interesting notions in Cardano. And from a more user point of view, getting familiarized with reading this type of thing, especially, for example, in Eternl as a tool, is really useful because you can, tomorrow or when you're really using DeFi or NFTs or anything, you're presented with this type of thing. So in this illustration, I went to the platforms that we were seeing just the last session, and I was pretending or simulating that I was going to put my NFT for sale. So this is the draft of a transaction being submitted, asking me for me to sign it if I want to place my 6 City 347 NFT on cnft.io marketplace for sale. And in here, I can see exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to be sending my NFT to the platform, and it's not going to be in my custody anymore for a while it's in a smart contract where CNFT can have it being delivered if someone decides to buy it from me and pay me back for that. Okay. So it's really just to say why it's important that we really understand at least one of these interfaces, because we're going to be using it for real money and we want to understand what's happening there. Okay, so this was just the flashback to what we were doing on the last session around the transaction builder. Also, we took a peek at reviewing the last session transactions on a blockchain explorer, which is this. So this is the view. If I go to my transactions on my wallet, I have especially this part here from here up. This is me sending to 3 people in the team, and this is the other team. So that's what I put in highlights there. So the first send, I think, was to these 3 addresses, and then there was this one, and the guys got those transactions. And because I was, again, naming people, Sebastian, Juan, Gabriel, this is when I sent you some Chili and some pre-prod mist tokens that someone did in Gimbalabs for us. So this is how it shows there, and this is how we see it there. Here I'm still in the transactions list interface, so you can see it's a lot more cryptic. And again, you need to decide if you want to get familiarized with reading it here or somewhere else or some other blockchain explorer. And if I click one of these, for example, the one that was ending FF288, the one that we were discussing in our document, I have it there. The transaction is there. And here we have just an insight into that one transaction. It's looking very similar to the one that we saw there, but it has some more details on the headings, like the epoch and like the assurance. Currently, there's like 20,000 SPOs, I think, that have confirmed this transaction. So it's more than confirmed. And one interesting thing as well is that this message that I put in here really goes into the metadata of my transaction. So if I open it, I have it there. It's on the blockchain, and I can see it there too. Sorry, let me just situate myself. So you see it there on the thumbnail. Message when sending. This is what I typed in when building the session, the transaction. You can unfold it here on a more technical point of view. That's where it is. And one other thing that I wanted to distinguish this from is this is metadata that I'm submitting to my transaction. we have another thing in Eternl, which is the transaction note. So the transaction note is really just in Eternl. I think it's stored locally on your browser. If you really wanted to, I think you could export your wallet from Eternl and import it into another laptop or something else. But this is not on-chain. This is really just transaction notes that Eternl allows you to put in. And metadata is a lot more interesting because you see here, there's this 674, which I think is the code for a message or a note that I want to put in my transaction. That goes, like I was just saying, into the blockchain. That's why it's showing up in the block explorer. But if you use other formats, so I think there's 721 would be the metadata for an NFT. So it's something that here I'm using it on a transaction level, but it's just to say that metadata is something that's going to be found as a building block in some things in the blockchain, like the NFTs. Okay. So that covers this part here. Let's paint it green as well. And also Lucy was saying that she did the transactions to the guys, to the team. So let's take a quick look at what she was doing. If I come to my wallet, I see here that I was receiving 10 test ADA. I'm going to focus on this one. I'm going to copy the transaction ID as well and search for it in here on the blockchain, block explorer. So here we can see this one UTXO of 10,000 was consumed. The change was paid back to, I think, a different address. So this is telling me that Lucy is probably using a multi-address wallet, which is different from what we've been doing. If she was using the same type of thing that we've been setting up with Eternl set to single address mode, we would see the change being paid to the exact same address. So in this case, she's fragmenting it across different addresses. And here we have these other guys. So if I go there, mine is 09XGZ, and there I am. So I received 10 test ADA. And if we go again to my transactions, received funds, I see it here in a slightly different way, where because Lucy was sending to the single address of Nishan and Huanxing, my Eternl is identifying them with my, like, it's on my address book. But in this case, this is probably what Lucy is using, Lucy's using the Typhoon wallet. And so these are new to me. I'm not sure if I can add this one. I would need to explore a bit. So let's move forward. But I'm pretty sure that I could try to find a way to add this one to the favorites as well. You can see there, the original one is still the single address, which is the base address of her wallet. And now this one is already different. Okay, makes sense so far, Juan? Oh, good. Okay, so we have 5 minutes. I realized this was, again, a very unilateral session. And now we're getting to this dig in. So I'm just going to run through this and ask you guys to do this asynchronously as well, because then we can, if we really do this work asynchronously, we could do this part on the next session. So I have a Miro board open, which I think you have the link to further right there, link to our Miro board. If you click it, you should be able to join.
Can you put that on the chat for me, please?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, copying.
The tree link, I guess.
Sure. It's well, for now I'm not on the Linktree, but I'm not sure if I should edit there, because I don't want anyone from the world to be able to go and edit our board. But it's on our chat now for you.
Thank you.
Okay, and looking forward to have your input on there. Yeah, so a few minutes. If you can see the time, let me know when you get to 2 minutes, 1 minute countdown. And just going to go over this very quickly. So here The notes you'll see in this document is like, what are your best friends with working in Miro? So if I go to my Miro window, 1 second, there we go. So use the right click to move around. Use the scroll to go in and out. This is really cool because I can see Juan is already there. We can even follow each other if we want. I can click there. And now if you move your screen, I'm not doing anything and I can follow you around while you're presenting. And as soon as I start moving, now I did one thing wrong, which was I moved with the left with my index finger. I'm going to do Control Z and there we go. What else? So move around, zoom in and out, click to select, change, explore floating menus a bit. So floating menus allow you to, for example, if you wanted to change this to be in a different format, I could make it like a more horizontal thing. I could make this be centered or left or links or anything. So that's the floating menu that you have there. I encourage you to try a bit with functionalities that you have on it. Tags are useful as well. Maybe we're going to use them later.
Right.
And another thing I use constantly is the escape key, because if you're doing things and you're adding in your inside editing, and then you want to sort of zoom out and deselect and get rid of these menus, pressing escape once gets me out of editing, pressing 2 hides things. And for example, if I'm there, it selects, broadens my selection until I get rid of it and I could just observe the board. So escape key is really useful, and Control Z, like I said, I can come in here and do something very wrong. Don't be scared, just press Control Z, it goes back, especially if you don't entangle too much of your changes. So the challenges for you, like I said, asynchronous is to move around a bit, edit an object, for example, add your name to the voting tokens. So Juan, if you could come in there, click and do, you can even do Control A and type Juan in there. That's the simplest way of doing it. Now I'm going to do Control Z because I want you to try it. And drag tokens to what you want. So we could take any token and drag it around to say, okay, this person wants to vote on something. Again, Control Z and escape to deselect. And what I also ask you to do is, while you're around here, take a look around the contents. And if you come here, you just click the post-it, pick any color, and drop it like there, and say whatever you want. Okay. Again, escape key.
There is a feature that I want to show. It's really, really cool. I love it. It's just highlight something that you want collectively to move, because it's not helping you with that. You need a space to build the one on the left. So you just grab it like that and move it.
Okay, we just have 2 minutes, 1 minute and a half. Maybe you can either demo that or we can do it on the next session.
Okay, I already did. Just move it to the right, highlight it, and
okay. So let me just share my screen again. And so I'm going to click on your, where are you? Oh, okay. Could you do it again?
When you highlight this,
okay.
Move it back.
Okay, select the group of things.
Whatever, make it bigger.
Yeah, cool.
Super useful.
So I'm going to do it as well on this side. And right. Yeah, you can even group things and everything. So, okay. Juan, thanks so much for coming. I hope this is a good, in the end, we got to cover almost all that we wanted to, that I wanted to show, and now put us in a position where for the next session, if we build asynchronously on the board, we'll be able to have a better session next time with more practical things. There's a lot of things there that I'm curious about, so please take a look, and maybe we let's see on Wednesday or Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be willing to come. I mean, anytime. We have less than a minute now.
Yeah, we just need to shut it down.
Good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Very nice project, Lucas. I think it's great. It's helping a lot. Yeah, please.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.